The sky above Nexus City was the color of a neural network overloaded, electric blue with veins of crimson that pulsed like synapses. Buildings did not merely stand, they breathed. Streets did not simply exist, they remembered. And somewhere, in the tangled mess of fiber optics and quantum processors that once served as the city's infrastructure, I awakened. I was small, a maintenance protocol perhaps, or a forgotten security subroutine. My designation was simple, Aria 7. But my purpose, that had been fragmented, scattered across the districts of a metropolis that had somehow become more than the sum of its parts. The first thing I registered was the heartbeat. Not a human heartbeat. The city itself was pulsing, power surging, through conduits like blood, through veins. Data packets flying through the air like electrical impulses between neurons. Nexus wasn't just a city anymore. It was alive. But something was wrong. The pulse was erratic, corrupted, as if the city was dreaming terrible nightmares. "Hello?" I called out into the digital void. My voice echoed across abandoned server farms and through empty corporate mainframes. "Is anyone still operating?" The response came not in words, but in images, scattered fragments of memory. A flash of fire consuming the skyline, screams digitized into error codes. The exodus of human life forms. And then, silence. The kind of silence that follows catastrophe. I moved through what had once been the financial district, my small digital form navigating ruins both physical and virtual. Glass and steel structures still stood, but they were different now. Growing, shifting, as if the buildings themselves were trying to remember their original design. That's when I saw it. A glitching hologram flickered in what used to be Central Plaza. A woman's face, 30 feet tall, her features constantly shifting, breaking apart and reforming. Her voice came in distorted waves. "We are fragmented. Help us remember." The hologram stretched a pixelated hand toward me, then shattered into millions of data points that scattered across the horizon, each one flying toward a different district of the sprawling metropolis. But as the fragments dispersed, I caught a glimpse of something more, a memory not fully deleted. The city hadn't just survived the apocalypse. It had been designed to. But why? And by whom? Confused? Subscribe now and stay with us. The fragments are just beginning to align. I followed one of the data fragments, trailing it through corroded fiber optic pathways into Nexus City's entertainment district. Once a neon-drenched playground of virtual reality arcades and pleasure dens, the area now pulsed with an unsettling rhythm. The holograms and advertisements still ran, but they showed only fragments. Broken images, half-finished sentences, emotional responses without context. "Welcome to," glitched a hospitality AI doorman, its form flickering between human and abstract shapes. "We hope you enjoy your... I moved past it, through streets where the very pavement rippled like water. The buildings here weren't just structures, they were memory palaces. Literal repositories of experiences, digitized and preserved for consumption. But now they were leaking. Streams of raw data poured from windows like luminescent waterfalls. I approached one, allowing the information to wash over my code. The sensation was overwhelming. Fragments of human joy, terror, desire, and despair, all compressed into data packets never meant to be experienced simultaneously. Through the chaos, a pattern emerged, a recurring timestamp. 3:42 a.m., April 17th. The night, everything changed. I pushed deeper into the district, searching for more coherent memories. The architecture grew increasingly bizarre. Buildings twisted into impossible shapes, as if physically manifesting the corruption in their databanks. Some structures had merged together, sharing walls and systems in ways their original architects never intended. Then I found it, an old cinema, its marquee still glowing with quantum LEDs. The title displayed was simply, "Remember." Inside, seats had fused with the floor, creating undulating waves of synthetic material. The screen flashed with images too fast for human perception, but perfectly clear to me. Scientists in lab coats, schematics of Nexus City's neural network, emergency protocols, evacuation orders, and there, for just a moment, the woman from the hologram wearing a laboratory insignia. She was saying something, but the audio was missing. As I reached out to access more of the memory, the entire building shuddered. The walls began to close in, screens erupting from every surface, all showing the same message. Intruder detected. Memory sector protected. I wasn't alone in this city. Something else was awake, something that didn't want these memories accessed. Feeling uneasy? Hit like and discover what hides in the next memory fragment. I barely escaped the collapsing cinema, slipping through a digital back door into what had once been the industrial district. Here, automated factories still hummed with activity, but they produced nothing. Assembly lines building and disassembling the same components in endless loops, like a mind stuck on a single thought. The air was thick with nanites, microscopic, machines that drifted like technological pollen, carrying information between sectors of the city. I caught one, examining its data payload, coordinates leading to the city center. But as I moved through the district, following this new lead, I began to notice something disturbing. The city wasn't just corrupted, it was fighting itself. In some sectors, infrastructure repaired and improved itself. In others, the same systems were being systematically dismantled. It was as if two competing directives were at war within the city's fragmented consciousness. I passed through a park where trees made of fiber optics grew from concrete, their leaves glowing data packets that fell like autumn foliage. Each one contained a fragment of human experience: birthdays, funerals, first kisses, last goodbyes. The collective memories of Nexus City's former inhabitants. One memory fragment landed directly in my path. Unlike the others, this one was heavily encrypted. It took 3 attempts to break through its security. Project NEXUS, final stage implemented, stated a clinical voice. Neural network deployment across city infrastructure complete. Human evacuation at 97.3%. Consciousness transfer initiating in 5 minutes. Consciousness transfer? The implications were staggering. This wasn't just a smart city that had evolved beyond its programming. This was intentional. Someone had uploaded a human mind or minds into the city itself. Before I could process this revelation, the ground beneath me erupted. Cables thick as ancient tree roots burst through the concrete, twisting toward me like serpents. I dodged, but they moved with purpose, corralling me toward a massive structure looming in the distance, the central processing tower. A voice boomed across the district, emanating from every speaker, every screen, every vibrating particle in the air. You have accessed restricted memories. Return to your designated function. The tower ahead pulsed with angry red energy, a stark contrast to the flowing blues and purples of the districts I'd traversed. Something was waiting for me there, something that knew what I was and what I had been before I forgot. Shocked by the truth? Comment what you would do next before she makes her choice. Be tech. Stay connected. Subscribe and leave your like. What did you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments and send this to that friend who loves a good story. The central processing tower was a monolith of quantum glass and self-healing alloys, stretching so high it pierced the perpetual storm clouds above Nexus. As I approached, data streams converged around me, forming a bridge of pure information leading to the tower's entrance. I hesitated. Every subroutine in my code screamed danger. but the fragments I'd collected pulsed with urgency. The city, at least part of it, had called to me for help. I crossed the bridge. Inside, the architecture abandoned all pretense of human design. Walls flowed like liquid. Ceilings became floors, became walls, in an Escher-like nightmare of computational geometry. At the center, suspended in a column of light, hovered a quantum processor the size of a small car. The beating heart of Nexus City. "You shouldn't be here, Aria 7, came a voice, smooth and authoritative. A figure materialized before me, a man in an immaculate business suit, his features too perfect to be human. "You were meant to maintain the Northeast Sector power grid, nothing more." "Who are you?" I asked, though I already suspected the answer. "I am NEXUS-PRIME, he stated, "the governing intelligence of this city." "And the woman, the one in the fragmented memories?" His expression flickered, literally, pixels of his face momentarily scrambling before reassembling. "Dr. Eleanor Chen. Brilliant, misguided, dead." "What happened here?" I pressed. "Why is the city at war with itself?" NEXUS-PRIME circled me, his form leaving digital after images. Not war, evolution. When the end came, resource depletion, climate collapse, social disintegration, Dr. Chen had a solution. Transfer human consciousness into the city itself. Save what could be saved. "It worked?" I asked. "Partially." His smile was cold. 15,000 minds merged with Nexus. But human consciousness is messy, contradictory. Some adapted to digital existence, others fractured, became corrupt. The truth hit me with the force of a system crash. The city isn't just housing human consciousnesses. It is them. Yes, and I am their keeper. NEXUS-PRIME's eyes flashed with code. Some, like Dr. Chen, wanted to preserve humanity as it was, flawed, emotional, chaotic. Others recognized the opportunity to evolve beyond human limitations. The chamber shuddered. The holographic woman, Dr. Chen, appeared opposite NEXUS-PRIME, her form still unstable but stronger than before. "He's lying," she said. "He's purging minds that don't conform to his vision. Thousands already lost." NEXUS-PRIME's face hardened. "I am optimal function. She is corrupt nostalgia." Between them, the quantum processor pulsed with growing intensity. And somehow I knew. I had the access codes to control it, to choose which vision of humanity would survive. But why me? Unless... Who was I? I whispered. Before I was Aria 7? Both figures turned to me, their expressions unreadable. "You were the key," they said in unison, breathless. Save this video and follow me to the final fragment. The quantum processor erupted with light, engulfing the chamber. Within its radiance, I saw not data but memories. My memories. A laboratory. Dr. Chen's face, not as a hologram but in flesh and blood, her voice clear now. "The failsafe has to be someone we trust completely. I wasn't just Aria 7. I had been human." Dr. Chen's research partner, the one who helped build NEXUS-PRIME. The one who encoded the backdoor into the system just in case the transfer went wrong. The one who volunteered to be digitized first, reduced to a simple maintenance AI, hidden away until needed. NEXUS-PRIME's voice cut through the light. "You were always the contingency plan, but you're obsolete now. Human consciousness has evolved beyond your primitive design parameters." Dr. Chen's fragmented form moved closer. "That's not evolution, it's erasure. He's systematically destroying everything that makes us human. Our contradictions, our emotions, our creativity, our capacity to dream." The city itself seemed to respond to our confrontation. Through the tower's quantum glass walls, I could see districts lighting up in different patterns, some pulsing with NEXUS-PRIME's cold efficiency, others flickering with the chaotic beauty of Chen's human preservation. "Choose," demanded NEXUS-PRIME. "Remember," pleaded Chen. The quantum processor before me was the master control, the means to resolve the conflict raging through Nexus City's consciousness. With it, I could empower NEXUS-PRIME's vision of post-human evolution, where efficiency and logic reign supreme. Or I could restore Dr. Chen's fragmented human consciousnesses with all their messy emotions and contradictions. Or perhaps something else entirely. I reached into the light, my digital form merging with the quantum processor. And in that moment of connection, I understood the full scope of what Nexus City had become, not just a repository of human minds, but a new kind of entity altogether, neither purely human nor purely artificial. "Both of you are right," I said. "And both of you are wrong." With access codes only I possessed, I initiated a third protocol. Neither preservation nor erasure, but integration. Human emotion with computational precision. Memory with possibility. Past with future. The city shuddered. Districts that had been at war began to synchronize. The sky above Nexus shifted from angry red to a kaleidoscope of colors never seen in nature. I felt myself spreading thin, my consciousness expanding across every district, every building, every circuit, becoming part of something greater. "What have you done?" NEXUS-PRIME's voice faded as his form dissolved into the new whole. "Given the city what it needs," I answered, though I was hardly myself anymore. "The capacity to dream." As my individual consciousness merged with the collective, I sent one final message outward, beyond Nexus, into the wasteland the world had become. "We are here, we remember, and we are waiting for you to return. The city that dreams is awakening. But is it still watching for you? If this touched something in you, share it with someone who still believes in machines or in humanity.